Congressman, thanks very much for being with us. We appreciate it. So do you think we're heading toward a shutdown? What's your sense of it right now?
Yes, we are. We will be next week. We met Saturday in Rules Committee, passed out 4 bills that we'll send to the floor in the rule: Department of Defense, Agriculture, Homeland Security, and State and Foreign Ops. We will put them on the floor. We'll probably debate it the next 2 days and vote on it by Friday, and hopefully send that over. But Jim, the real issue is not the shutdown. The real issue is the 2 crises we have in this country: economic security crisis and economic crisis. We've got a problem in this country, and what we've done in rules is attached to the Homeland bill. We've got the language that unless they enforce HR 2, that is the security border, strict enforcement of that, we're not going to fund Mayorkas because he hadn't done the job and he hadn't put the money to it. This administration is put this country in a tough shape economically and with national security. So,
well, won't a government shutdown exacerbate the economic situation in this country? And it's certainly not going to help down at the border if Border Patrol agents aren't getting paid because there's a government shutdown.
Well, we can't expect a different result. Again, we've done this, I don't know how many years. That's why we've got the 32 trillion in debt. We're going to have a permanent shutdown if we don't get this economic crisis handled in this country. And so we're going to try to, one thing that we did in January in the election of McCarthy is ask for the spending bills, 12 appropriation bills, to go line item by line item in June and July, and not wait to the last minute. So September 30th has never been a figment of our imagination. October 1 has always been the new budget year.
But and is there a part of you that wants to shut the government down, to send a message? Is that part of this? There are just some members in the Freedom Caucus who want to shut it down to see if the message can get across that you're trying to send.
No, the message we're getting across is it's not business as usual. We're not going to bankrupt this country. We're just not going to do it. And to keep doing the same thing. And we've always, both Democrat and Republican, Jim, have run it down to the wire. And then it'll go on these continuing resolutions. It'll go to, if we approve it, a spending gap, spending amount, either 30 days or we get it through Christmas, and then say, oh, we're going to have to go to the same spending levels, but much higher as we've always done. And we're not doing that. Yeah. So you've got a government that sure shut the businesses down. They sure shut the school children out of schools. And it's time that we get a handle on it, and we're going to do it.
Well, let me ask you this. The House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, he had some choice words for members of your conference, the Republican conference, his own party. Let's listen to what he told reporters on Thursday.
It's frustrating in the sense that I don't understand why anybody votes against bringing the idea and having the debate. And then you got all the amendments if you don't like the bill. This is a whole new concept of individuals that just want to burn the whole place down. It doesn't work.
Congressman, the speaker there saying there are members of your conference who want to burn the whole place down. Are you one of those members who wants to burn the whole place down? It sounds like he's calling you an arsonist.
No, look, it's not about Kevin McCarthy. Kevin should have had us working in July and August to come up with an agreement on the spending bills. And he had agreed in January to do that, to get us on a downward spending trajectory. He just hasn't done that. He's been in Congress 17 years. Now, we either have going to face a reality, and he calls frustrated with us. The American people are frustrated with the way government has not worked and the way government politicians have spent their money. And so,
but how can you and other Freedom Caucus members drive this hard line here? How can others in your caucus demand that you have this position that everybody has to go along with when you don't have the numbers?
Well, we passed the DOD bill out, and it didn't have the numbers. Look, it's all about again, economic security, and anybody that doesn't see what's going on at the border and doesn't know that this country we're at a tipping point. And we either handle it or we don't. But
government employees won't be getting paychecks. Members of the military won't be getting paychecks. Members of the Border Patrol down on the border won't be getting paychecks. You're comfortable with that?
That's not right. They're going to get back pay whenever we open back up, and we will open back up. Look, Jim, the sun's going to still shine. The oceans.
But that's real pain that they're going to be going through. I mean,
in and out.
Are you going to get paid?
Yes, Congress gets paid. I didn't write the Constitution. I'm not that old. But what I'll tell you this is, there are a lot of Americans living paycheck to paycheck. And simply, you can agree or disagree with it, but
a lot of members of the military are living paycheck to paycheck. If they're not getting paid, you say they're going to get back pay. If they're living paycheck to paycheck, that doesn't sound too good for members of the military, members of the Border Patrol.
No, it's not. No, well, it's not. But ask you mentioned Border Patrol. They're so frustrated with what this administration is doing to let everybody in this country. It's just not right. And we're on tap to have 15 million illegals in this country. As we see, how's that working out in New York? It's not. And so we're tying the border security now to Homeland Security. We're going to do that on every appropriations bill to get a number, and we'll see where it goes. Everybody listening to this show ought to call the senator, because that's who we're going to put it back on. And thank God, finally, Schumer's getting booed, AOC's getting booed. The American public knows what's going on.
But are you prepared to take responsibility for this? Because we were talking to John Bolton, the former national security advisor, in a previous hour on this program, who said typically when the government shuts down, Republicans get blamed for it. Isn't that what's going to happen this time around? Are you prepared to shoulder that blame?
Look, this isn't about blame. This is about doing what's right for the country. And we're trying to do that. It's in business as usual. And, the fact that Americans are living paycheck to paycheck because of this Bidenomics. The one family is working for? Joe Biden and his family. No one else is working for them. And the 330 Americans don't deserve it. And all we're saying is, let's live like every business and every family does. Look at your spending and try to agree on it. And no, this will be the Senate's responsibility and the Democrats who have caused this crisis. And it shouldn't be at this point in the history of this country.
But how can you accuse Democrats of causing this crisis when you're the ones who are going to shut down the government? You're saying you're going to do it.
What you're missing is the last 3.5 years, we've had an invasion. He's opened it up. And guess what? I suspected this. It's for keeping Democrats in office. He's giving, now Jim, get this. He's giving Social Security.
Wait a minute, Congressman. Are you saying that, what are you trying to say, that there's an invasion of migrants in this country and the Democrats are doing this to get elected? Is that what you're saying? That's just not true.
No, it is true. Look it up. He's given Social Security numbers and driver's licenses. He's done it in New York. What do you call that? What else can you call that? Give me a term for it.
Sir, that is something that, it sounds like what you're doing when you say that is demonizing immigrants. When you say that they're coming into this country as part of some invasion to change the political calculus in this country, that's just not the case. There are lots of people who come into this country as immigrants, end up voting Republican. I guess that doesn't add up.
Legally. They come into this country legally. You can term it however you want. They come into it legally. Never before have we opened our borders up to every country all across the globe, and we're going to stop it one way or another.
But how are you going to lock down the border? How are you going to have better border protection if you shut down the government? I guess I don't understand that. That doesn't make any sense.
Well, what does make sense is and we're going to have to the public is going to have to force this Biden administration to let the Border Patrol agents do their job, to get the wall built, have designated points of entry. And this administration is just not doing it. They're doing it intentionally. And whether you agree with it or not, they're doing it for power. Why are they giving Social Security numbers?
What do you mean by that?
What
does this say? They're intentionally doing what? Where's your evidence of this? Where's your proof of this? It just sounds like you're throwing rhetoric around with no basis in fact.
No, you can. Have you been to the border?
Of course I have.
Have you seen what's going on? The rapes, it's open. I mean, nobody can deny that.
The border is,
and they've got it's a crisis. Where?
I'll ask the question, sir. And the border is not open. That is something that is peddled as a talking point, but it's not true. There are fences, there are walls, there are Border Patrol agents who work on the border.
The 5+ million that have gotten into this country illegally is not a figment of our imagination. Ask the Border Patrol agents. Ask anybody down there. They're frustrated.
But I guess you have not been able to answer my question as to how you effectively do border enforcement if you're shutting down the government. I guess we're not going to get an answer to that question. Right? I mean, if you shut down the government, Saturday rolls around, you're going to have Border Patrol agents who are going to be without pay. How are they going to want to go out there and do Border Patrol enforcement if they're not getting paid? It sounds like an ineffective way of running the border.
Well, what's ineffective is this president doing what he's doing to America, and it shouldn't happen.